Hazrat Allama Maulana Zainul Aqtab comes from a very pious family. His father was a very great alim ad-din, very pious personality. He is currently one of the lecturers of the Hijaz University in the UK. And apart from being alim ad-din and lecturer at such a powerful university, we also understand that he is a barrister at law. And alhamdulillah, not only in this program that he has given us his words of wisdom, but previously on the invitation of the Mansoor family, alhamdulillah, Hazrat Maulana Zainul Aqtab Siddiqi has also given us many lectures. And alhamdulillah, he's perfumed the mahfil, he's perfumed the hearts of the Sunni Muslims. Alhamdulillah, once again he's here. He arrived yesterday from the UK. He was scheduled to do the Jum'ah, the pre-khutbah talk, but because of the tiredness, he was excused, alhamdulillah. But he's here tonight, inshallah, and he will be lecturing tomorrow night as well. Tomorrow, during the day, sorry. So we have him here tonight, and I'm sure that you will enjoy him for the next few minutes or so, inshallah, before Qari Sayyid Furqan takes the mic. So without any further delay, let us all welcome Hazrat Allama Maulana Zainul Aqtab Siddiqi from the UK to share with us, inshallah, some words of wisdom. Narae Takbir, Narae Risalat, Narae Risalat, Ulama Ahl Sunnat.
My very respected elders, brothers, mothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Life has given me and you once again the privilege of allocating time from our very, very busy lives in attending this auspicious ceremony. May Allah accept my coming and your coming. Before I start my short discourse, I would like to request that you all, with one melodious voice, entrenched in love, recite Durood and Salam on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Rasul. الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا مثل له ولا مثال له ولا مثيل له ولا زوجة له لا شبه له ولا شبيه له ونشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا وغوثنا وغيثنا وغياثنا ومغيثنا وعوننا وعيننا وعياننا ومعيننا وطبيب أجسادنا وطبيب أرواحنا وطبيب قلوبنا وطبيب قبورنا ونور عيوننا ونور ظاهرنا ونور باطننا ونور أولنا ونور آخرنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأحبائه أجمعين. قال الله عز وجل في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي صدق الله مولانا العظيم. وقال جل جلاله وعم نواله في شان حبيبه مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created this universe and gave the keys to the power of this universe to his awliya. He gave the keys of power to his friends. That is a very bold statement. Were angels not deserved of being custodians of such power? After all, they were, are, and will remain perfect. But despite man and the imperfection of man, Allah selected certain people from amongst them and gave them such degrees of power that had never ever been witnessed in the entire history of this universe. In my discourse today, I wish to touch upon a very important point. It is important from the perspective of our appreciation of the significance of what we are here to do tonight. And the significance of tonight is the remembrance of a friend of Allah by the name of Hazrat Ghawsul Azam Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu anhu. And in the process of remembering this king, we use terminology which sometimes creates confusion in the minds of those who are not perhaps acquainted properly with the Quran and Sunnah. The main aspect of that terminology which causes confusion is the usage of the term Shay'an Lillah Ya Abdul Qadir or Al-Madad Ya Abdul Qadir. Those who have been saying this don't think about it and just carry on saying it. But there are those who sit in gatherings where certain speakers, due to their inability to relate properly to the Quran and Sunnah, criticize this methodology of remembering Ghaus Pak, and they say that this statement constitutes shirk. And when they bump into you in the streets and they say, you say, Ya Abdul Qadir, Shay'an Lillah, and the typical Sunni says, shut up, and he just goes away. I know who you are, I know where you're from, I've been warned to keep away. That is not satisfactory. We need to be confident that every limb of our aqidah, whether it relates to prophets or whether it relates to awliya, is harmonious and consistent with the Quran and Sunnah. So, in my brief discourse today, we will examine this statement, Ya Abdul Qadir, Shay'an Lillah, or Al-Madad Ya Abdul Qadir. How is this possible within the framework of the Quran and Sunnah? Is everyone with me? Because I've told you what I'm going to talk about before I talk about it, rather than leave you in suspense at the end, like some speakers do, and people say, well, it was a very good speech, but we don't really know what it was about. We heard a lot of screaming, yelling, and shouting, and yeah, we heard a few verses of the Quran in the middle, but really, I didn't get to grips of what it was about. So let's examine very simply the connotations of the usage of this terminology, Shay'an Lillah Ya Ghawsul Azam or Al-Madad Ya Ghawsul Azam. If you ask those who object to it, their objection can be summarized in 3 questions. How many questions? Oh, come on. That's not such a hard figure to remember. Their objection to this is summarized in how many questions? 3. Right. Number 1, they say that the word Ya should only be used to someone who is present. Someone who is absent should not be the recipient of the word Ya. By the way, just for your information, Ya means, what does Ya mean? Oh, it's a form of call. In Arabic we call it huruf, from the huruf nida. So the first objection is Ya should not be said to someone who is absent. It should be sent to someone who is... Oh, come on. You know, in England, they say if you've had your Weetabix in the morning, it should have an impact on you during the day. Do they have Weetabix in South Africa? You can see the elders have suddenly replied. All this new cereal that's coming out, it's all junk food anyway. So the first question is, have you had your Weetabix? No, that's not the question. The question is, you cannot say ya to someone who is absent. It must be said to someone who is right. That's the first question. The second question is that ya should not be said to someone who has passed away. It should be said to someone who is alive. The third and most important and perhaps most controversial limb of the usage of ya is the integration of the notion of istighasa, which means assistance and help in ya. So the object of ya, calling, is to seek assistance. And they say that seeking assistance is, other than from Allah, is shirk. These are three objections to the usage of the term. Has everyone grasped the questions? Right. Now let's address each in turn, and let's see whether these questions can be answered from the Quran and Sunnah. Of course, you won't find the word Ya Abdul Qadir in the Quran and Sunnah, because Shaykh Abdul Qadir wasn't even born at the time when the Quran and Sunnah were around. But what we have to see is that is the questioning that surrounds the usage of the word Ya within the framework of the Quran and Sunnah. Is this something that the Prophet ﷺ did? Is this something that the Sahaba did? Is this something that the Salaf Salihin did? And one more thing before I carry on. I can quote from A'immah Muhaddiseen who are favorable to us. For example, if I quote just one Muhaddis, Imam Suyuti, I think just one Muhaddis has got enough ammunition on this topic that I can conclude my lecture with Imam Suyuti's ammunition. But whilst Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti is a very reputable and renowned Muhaddis, I want to quote from those sources which even the adversary accepts to be tenable and viable sources. Because you see, if you quote your own clan, the objection is, yeah, well, that's your guy, isn't he? That's what they say. Yeah, you quote your muhaddis, but in the world of law and in the world of the business of justice, authority is ever so more authentic when it is quoted in a manner and form that not only does it bind your case, but it binds the judge, the jury, and even the opposition. So today I want to quote a hadith on this topic, which will be limited. Of course I will quote Quran, but I will quote a hadith which will be limited to three muhaddiseen, three people of caliber, and one other one, even though I don't regard him as a muhaddis in the strict sense. Number one, Imam Bukhari. Anyone has a problem with Imam Bukhari? I'm not talking about you. You know. Anyone has a problem with Imam Bukhari? Okay. Number one. Number two, Ibn Kathir. Anyone has a problem with Ibn Kathir? I'm sure they'll say no. Why? Because he's his pupil. He's not going to have a problem with his teacher. Number 2. Number 3, Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani, the third muhaddis. All of these 3 muhaddiseen, of course, we the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah accept them, but these are muhaddiseen. Even if you go into any institution, whether it is in Makkah, Medina, Ummul Qura, anywhere, you quote any of these 3 muhaddiseen and they will say, okay, safe, cool. And there's one more. I don't consider him to be a muhaddis, but I just put his name in for the cream on the cake. Not for us, for them. And his name is Ibn Taymiyyah. So I'm only going to quote from these sources. So when you go back and you quote what I have quoted tonight, you can quote with confidence that I have quoted hadiths which even not only the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah accept, but these are hadiths that have been accepted by our adversary. And these hadiths can be found printed in Saudi Arabia in books commonly available. So now let's go to the first question. The usage of the term ya to someone who is present or absent. That was the first objection, right? Firstly, let's address this question with the logic. If I'm in front of you and I call you, you're present, right? And I say, Ya akhi, oh my brother. But if you are on the telephone with me and I say, Assalamu alaikum, Ya akhi, are you present or absent? Well, then there should be a fatwa on you. Don't you dare say Ya akhi on the telephone ever again. Otherwise it will be shirk. But that's the first objection. Ya shouldn't be said to someone who is ghaib. It should be said to... That's a logical explanation. But then there is an explanation. Is this explanation that is harmonious with the understanding of the Salaf and the Khalaf? Well, let's ask the Salaf and the Khalaf. What was their ma'mul? I'm now going to refer to the King of Awliya, Mawla-e Kainat, Sayyidina Ali Karramallahu Wajhul Kareem. One day, he visits Karbala. Where does he visit? You know the chronology, don't you? Who came first? The battle of Karbala or Sayyidina Ali? Yeah. This is not a spiritual dream. This is narrated by can be found in Minhajus Sunnah, which of Ibn Taymiyyah. He's accepted the authenticity of this hadith. Hazrat Ali visits Karbala. Why would he visit Karbala? What is in Karbala? A mosque? No. It is a plain piece of land. Red in nature, they say. I haven't been there, but those who have been tell me it's red. And he visits this place called Karbala. And as he visits it, he looks at the place of Karbala and he says, he utters, Ya Abdullah al-Husayn fasbiru. Oh my Hussein, oh Abdullah ibn Hussein, have patience. Now he was on his own. No one was with him. But he called his son, Imam Hussein, who was not present at that moment, and he said, Ya Hussein. What did he say? Ya Hussein. So if Imam Hussein wasn't present, and Hazrat Ali said, Ya Hussein, it means that to say Ya Hussein or Ya to someone who is absent is the sunnah of Sayyidina Ali Karramallahu Wajhul Kareem. Number 1. See, I'm quoting from sources that are authentic not only to us, but even to the adversary. Number 1. Number 2, Ya should be said to someone who is living, not to someone who is dead. That appeals to logic. Why? Because it is said that when you say salam, when you say ya to someone who is living, he has the ability to hear you. He has the ability to. And someone who is dead it doesn't have the ability to hear you. But this is not in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. Why? Because Allah delivers the first fatwa. Or shall I say, Allah delivers the first blow on this subject. He says, you think that to use the word ya to someone who has died is wrong? Then look at the Quran. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyya فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. Come on, that's not good enough. When you hear the voice of Allah, when you hear the words of Allah, you should spontaneously say, the words of Allah are very clear cut and beautiful. When a mu'min dies, Allah speaks to him. Who speaks to him? And he says, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainna. Oh, nafs mutmainna. Now in Arabic there are two words for nida. Huruf nida has two words. One, ya, and ayyuha. Allah, the creator of the world, the creator of the universe, is using ya for someone who is living or for someone who is dead. Are you sure he is dead? Or is it probable that he is dead? No. Look at the siyaq and the sabaq. Irji'i ربك راضية مرضية. Now return to your Lord. Now return to your Lord. So the order of returning to your Lord comes when you are alive or when you are dead. For an ordinary mu'min. So when an ordinary mu'min passes away, Allah invites him towards himself and says, come and meet me, but he uses the word ya. What does he use the word? First blow by Allah. So we can see that the Quran has not supported this view that ya is only available for someone who is alive. It can be used on someone who has passed away. But is this the ma'mul? Is this the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Some people will say, oh, Allah can use it. Well, what about Rasulullah? What about the Sahaba? Very easy. If you look at Bukhari, Imam Bukhari narrates a hadith where the son of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his name was Hazrat Ibrahim radiyallahu an. He passed away before puberty, and his body was in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prior to janazah, the Prophet ﷺ visited the body of his son, and he said, Inna bifirakika ya Ibrahim lamahzunun. Oh Ibrahim, by your departure, I am very much grieved. What did he say? Oh Ibrahim, Ya Ibrahim. Was Ibrahim alive at that time or had he passed away? So it means it is the sunnah of Allah and it is the sunnah of Rasulullah to say Ya to someone who has passed away. Number two. But someone can say this is Amr Muqayyad. This is limited to Allah and His Rasul. No. This is mutlaq. Yani this is open for anyone. Why? Imam Tirmidhi. Which Imam? Imam Tirmidhi. I'm quoting these citations because I hope that you will look these up. And if you don't look it up, someone else will. Imam Tirmidhi narrates the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh my ummah, when you visit a graveyard, don't look at the bricks, don't look at the mortar, don't look at the mud. When you visit the graveyard of your fellow mu'mineen, you should say, Assalamu alaykum ya ahl al-qubur." So you shouldn't look at the stones or the bricks or the mortar or the mud or the dust and say, "Oh, these are dead." No, don't you dare intimate that they are lifeless. You should say, Assalamu alaykum ya ahl al-qubur. O people of the grave, salam upon you all. So it means that the usage of the terminology of ya and ayyuha to someone who has passed away is the sunnah of Allah, the sunnah of Rasulullah, and the order of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the easy bit. Now comes the more technical bit. Yes, we have established that you can say ya to someone who is absent. Yes, we have established that you can say ya to someone who is passed away. But the third and the final question is, can you say ya to someone with the intention of seeking help from him? Huh? Because they say, "Oh no, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in." Alone we worship you and alone we worship you and alone we ask for your help. Well, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Nasta'in is not the only verse in the Quran. There are many other verses. For example, if nasta'in means only Allah can help, then Allah Himself has said, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Help each other. Who is saying this? Come on, who is saying this? Louder, who is saying this? We say Iyyaka nasta'in. The word nasta'in comes from the word help. And Allah says, yes, I help you. But O mu'mineen, ta'awanu, help each other. On anything? No. Ta'awanu ala al-birri wat-taqwa. Help each other in good things and in pious things, but don't help each other in bad things. So the notion of help, even though we say Iyyaka nasta'in, Allah Himself orders us, yes, I am the one who exclusively helps you, but I am also the one who orders you to help each other. But the question is, helping, and Albani in his book on Tawassul has raised this as a great issue. I call it, or we call it in English, a storm in a teacup. A storm in a teacup. Yani, there's no real issue, but because it's been made an issue, that's why it's now become an issue. But if you look at the Quran and Sunnah as to whether a person who has passed away, he can help, is it possible? A person who has passed away, can he help? Well, let us just look at this hadith first. The hadith from Imam Tirmidhi, which I've quoted, says that when you visit a grave, you should say what? What is salam? It is a dua. What is it? You can only say salam to someone who has the ability to return your salam. So if you go up to a, I don't know, Sardarji. Do you have Sardars here? Very few. You know, it's very racist, but in England we call them Turbinators or Appleheads. It's very racist, but that's how they're identified. Lita'arafu. Can you go up to a Sikh and say Assalamu alaikum? Huh? Can you? Why? We can teach him. He'll say, oh, wa alaikum assalam ji. He can act. Can you go up to a non-Muslim and say salam? No. Why? Although he has the ability to say wa alaikum assalam, but because he himself doesn't have Islam within him, therefore he cannot give salam. So the precondition of salam is that you have to have Islam within you. And then not only do you have the ability to have, not only do you have Islam within you, you have to have the ability to say wa alaikum assalam. So when I meet you, I say salam to you, I give you dua, and dua is benefit, right? And when you say wa alaikum assalam, you give me dua, and dua is? So I benefited you and you benefited me. So when we say to the people of the grade, Assalamu alaikum ya ahlal qubur, do they respond? Of course they respond. The Prophet ﷺ said, you cannot see them, you cannot hear them, but they hear your salam and they respond to your salam. So if they respond to your salam, you give them dua, they give you dua. You give them benefit, they give. So if an ordinary mu'min in his grave can give salam and give benefit from his grave, then what is the status of awliya and anbiya alayhimus salam? Now this is istinbat, this is takhrij from this hadith. But what we have to see is that, is this form of ya as a madad, as a form of help, something that the Sahaba were accustomed to? Is this something that they used to promote? Is this something that they used to do? Well, Imam Bukhari, Ibn Kasir, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, and even Ibn Taymiyyah have allowed a hadith to be of the utmost authentic nature, and have said that if Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu an, his foot became numb. His foot became numb. And someone said to Abdullah ibn Umar, oh Abdullah ibn Umar, if you want to cure this numbness, then call upon someone who you love. Abdullah ibn Umar said, Ya Muhammadah, Ya Muhammadah. And the Ravi narrates, when he said, Ya Muhammadah, the numbness of his feet became better. And this is not just Abdullah ibn Umar. This is not just one Sahabi. Khalid ibn Walid radiyallahu anhu, when he is fighting against Musailma Kazzab from Najd. From where? What's his address? What's his postcode? We don't know. Najd. We know that he came from Najd. Musailma Kazzab had militarily dominated the army of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anh. He was more powerful in his military might. But when Khalid ibn Walid and the Sahaba saw that they were now at odds with this mighty army, what did they do? Did they not know Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'een? No! Khalid bin Walid told his armies, oh my army, march today and say the nara, Ya Muhammadah, Ya Muhammadah. And the Sahaba who were with Khalid bin Walid said the verse, Ya Muhammadah, Ya Muhammadah. So it shows you from hadith that to call upon someone who has passed away, who is in the Zahir, is not only something that is there from the Quran, but it is the practice of the Sahaba, that when they were in difficulty, when they were in jeopardy, when they were in trouble, they used to call upon their beloved Muhammadur Rasulullah and say, Ya Muhammada, Ya Muhammada. So it means the usage of the terminology of Ya with the intention of seeking help, with the intention of seeking help, is part of the ayn, the constitution, the framework of the Quran and the Sunnah. And this is not something that we have just simply understood from one hadith. There are Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti has composed so many hadiths in this respect, but I have not quoted Jalaluddin Suyuti. Why? He is an authority for us. He is a world-renowned universal muhaddis. But I have quoted from those sources to demonstrate that Ya and the usage of Ya to call and to call in the time of need is part of the constitution of the Quran and Sunnah. But then is this something, this is part of the Salaf? What about the Khalaf? Let me give you one example of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani himself, and then we'll call it quits. Then I think I've put the cream on the cake. Why? Because the matter is resolved very, very easily, whether this was practiced by the Salaf and the Khalaf. Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani was one day, and this is, if you want to have the reference for this narration which I am about to present to you, it is composed by a very authoritative mufassir, and his name is Imam Aluswi Ruhul Ma'ani. And he is a universally renowned mufassir. Everyone accepts that he is a very authoritative mufassir. Allama Aluswi narrates that Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani was one day sitting after Salatul Zuhr. Which Salah? And as he was sitting, he closed his eyes. And when he opened his eyes, in front of him was Muhammadur Rasulullah. I have delivered on this topic on previous occasions, the ability of the Prophet ﷺ to appear physically after his demise. I've delivered on this. I'm not going to elaborate, otherwise we'll go on a voyage of discovery. I want to limit my discussion. So Ghaus Pak was sitting down after Zuhr, closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he saw, he said, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya jaddi. And the Prophet ﷺ smiled and said, Wa alaykum as-salam, my son. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, how come you came? He said, I have come to tell you that you should deliver lectures in Baghdad. You should give taqreers in Baghdad. So Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani said, oh my father, I would deliver lectures, but I am not Arabi, I am Ajami. And the crowd here is a crowd of Arabs. So what do you say? The Prophet ﷺ said, okay, you lack confidence? He took out his blessed saliva and 7 times placed that blessed saliva in the mouth of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. So he said, now go and deliver a lecture. So he said, when the Prophet ﷺ stood and he left, then I began to notice, as I was sitting in the mosque after Zuhr, I didn't know where they came from. They came from here, they came from there. And now when I saw that suddenly, immediately a few minutes after the departure of Rasulullah ﷺ, the mosque was full and there were thousands of people sitting there. So Ghaus Pak said that I became slightly nervous. Although I have the lu'ab done, the blessed saliva of the Prophet ﷺ, I still had some nervousness. So he said, as I was closing my eyes to give myself confidence, I opened my eyes again. This time I saw Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhul kareem. And when I saw Sayyidina Ali, he said to me, Assalamu alaikum, my son. And I said to him, Wa alaikum assalam ya jaddi. Oh my father, salam upon you. And my father, Ali, said to me, oh my son, why are you nervous? He said, although I have the treasure now, I am nervous as to how to distribute this treasure. So Sayyidina Ali said, fear not. He took saliva from his mouth and he put saliva 6 times in the mouth of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. How many times? He put saliva 6 times. When this hadith was mentioned in England, somebody rose and gave objection to this. He said, I object to this narration. Why? Because why would the Prophet ﷺ's saliva not be enough? Was there any shortcoming, na'uzubillah, in that saliva? That he needed the saliva of Sayyidina Ali? No, there was no shortcoming. Number one, Hazrat Ali didn't put saliva 7 times. He put saliva how many times? 6 times. Just to show a degree of subservience, inferiority to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the second question is, when your stomach is full, then someone offers you food, it means you only ate because you had the ability to eat. The first food wasn't enough. So the question he raised, why did Sayyidina Ghaus Pak need 6 more after the 7 he had already been given? There's 2 very easy answers to this. One easy answer is this, that we have the Quran. We have the Quran has knowledge of everything. Knowledge of? Am I saying this? No. Allah says this in the Quran. تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. This Quran has knowledge of? Come on, knowledge of? But despite the fact that the Quran has knowledge of everything, we still require hadith. لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ لَهُمْ. Oh beloved, I know the Quran has everything, but your people won't be able to extract from it. So I have sent you to explain the Quran to them. So even though the Quran is kamil, Quran is akmal, but to get the benefit of the kamiliyat of the Quran, we require the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what you call a usuli answer. But there's another answer to this, and that's an answer. I'll commentate some other time on the authenticity of this hadith. My time doesn't allow me, but there's another hadith in this respect. What is that? The Prophet ﷺ said, my relationship with Ali is a very, very special relationship. Why? أَنَا مَدِينَةُ الْعِلْمِ وَعَلِيٌّ بَابُهَا. As I said to you, there are some people who raise doubts on the authenticity of this hadith, and if life permits, I will sometime explain how valid and how authentic this hadith is. But for now, the hadith is, I am the city of knowledge and Ali is its. So from this hadith, we can know that the city is the city, but you can't get into the city without the. So that is why when the Prophet ﷺ gave Ghaus Pak his saliva, he gave him the city. But for Ghaus Pak to give benefit to the people of that city, he needed a door. And that door was the door of Mawla Kainat. So therefore, we understand that although Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani himself was an alim, he wasn't just an ordinary Sufi or a arif, he was an alim. He says, Darastu li-ilma hatta sirtu kutba. I sought knowledge, then I became a kutab. I sought knowledge, then I became a... In the day and age that we live, it's the opposite way around. People become a kutub first and then they go and learn knowledge. Subhanallah. But no, Ghaus Pak said, even though I was a born wali, even though I was a wali even before my birth, but despite my walaya, I still went in the pursuit of, so that you can know that knowledge is a source of elevation. But remember, despite the fact that Ghaus Pak was an alim, he was still helped by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was still helped by his father, Mawla Kainat, Ali karramallahu wajhul kareem. And it means therefore that helping someone despite being in barzakh is the ma'mul of the salaf and the ma'mul of the khalaf. That is why whether that help is advertent or inadvertent, whether it is asked for or not even asked for. One day, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he was sitting and a woman came and narrated a dream. And she said, I had a dream that I was leaning against a tree. And as I was leaning against a tree, someone came from its roots and took it away. What is the meaning of it? Crying. Why? The meaning is very easy. A woman leaning on a tree. Well, who does a woman lean on? Look at that. The whole audience is quiet. I said this in England. I said, who does a woman lean on? And one man stood up and he said, the government. I said, why? He said, because if the man doesn't provide, she gets social security. You don't have social security in South Africa, right? If the man doesn't give her money for medicine, she has the National Health Service. So if this dream was interpreted in the 20th century, it would mean that the government is now going to be finished. But of course, a woman in her legal right has the right to lean on her. Come on, you can say it. Don't be shy. Oh yes. A woman has a legal right to lean on her husband. And I know those people who haven't said it loudly, they are thinking, now if we don't want to get trapped here. One man came to me in England and he said, could you help me write a will, but I want to write it in such a way that I don't give anything to my wife. I said to her, what's she done to you? She said, oh, she doesn't cook on time. She's not been of use to me. I said, who brought up your kids? She said, yeah. She only did that because she loved them. She didn't love me. She did it. Remember, a woman's right is not given by a man. A woman's right is not given by a mufti. A woman's right is given by Allah and His Rasul. The rights of everyone who we interact with have been dictated to us by Allah and His Rasul. And we have to not only know those rights, we have to know the rationale of those rights. Why? Because in the world that we live today, it is the world which is dictated by a new God, the God of rationale, which says, if your deen conforms to your rationale, then accept deen. And if your deen does not conform to your rationale, then deen is medieval. It is archaic. But listen, rationale is immature. Rationale is imperfect. Rationale is defective. Deen is perfect. Rasulullah is perfect and Allah is perfect. So, let's go back to that dream. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq thought, where is your husband? She said, oh, he's gone to Syria for business. Oh, okay. He said, and the dream means that your husband will come back to Medina Sharif. As he was narrating the meaning of that dream, the angel of death came to that husband in soul. But as he was about to capture his soul, Allah said, "Oh Mulkul Maut, do not capture his soul." Why? Because although I have dictated his time, but today my Abu Bakr has said that he will return to Medina, and my Abu Bakr is Siddiq. He has not refuted what I said or what my beloved has said. Because he has not refuted me, I don't want history to have refuted him. So because he has said, now change the time of his death, let him go to Medina and let him die in Medina. So istighasa can take form advertently or inadvertently. That person's qismat was to die in Damashq, but through the istighasa and wasila of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he died in the great town, or the greatest town of Medina Munawwara. So I think to conclude my discussion, we can clearly see from the Quran and Sunnah the usage of the term Shay'an lillah, Ya Abdul Qadir, Al-Madad, Ya Abdul Qadir is in harmony, in conformity, in alignment with the framework of the Quran and the Sunnah. May Allah give us the opportunity to understand the Aqidah of the Ahl Sunnah from the Quran and the Sunnah. Wa ma alayna illa al-balaghul.
سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله